I was gonna do a video about something completely different, but right now we literally got discount, fresh and fit, and we're gonna continue our sort of, I don't really want to say feminist crusade against all these beta males who think that standing over and bullying women makes them a man. So Marquette breaks down how liberal ideals brainwash women. I'm like really curious to see what the hell is wrong with this guy.
Sam comes through with the Australian dollars. He writes, "Peace, Marquette. I have a little sister whom I notice is starting to adopt liberal ideas. How do I give her some ism without sounding like I'm preaching or nagging? I'm really concerned about this."
I mean, you can't, because you got to let people make their own decisions about the political ideologies just they want to follow. If somebody in your family or life wants to follow a certain political ideology, it's best that you distance yourself from them. Number one. Two, you aren't dating her. You're not you're not her man. So why is it that you get to tell her what she should and shouldn't believe and what type of woman she should and shouldn't do? Are you trying to like literally groom her into being a conservative? Like, come on, dude. That was okay, whatever.
Sam, that
Let's try to keep
is a
going.
challenge that a lot of us face. And one thing we can all admit is
Not really.
that in our youth, we're often liberal. Like when we're young, we're all liberal. That's primarily
Okay, I'm gonna let her
because we
finish
don't
this
know
sentence.
and we've not been around the world to learn anything.
Okay, we have paused it right there to say that that is 100% absolutely a lie. At the end of the day, when it comes to me, I'm 30 years old right now. Well, I'll be 30 in June, right? But it seemed like, ironically enough, when I was young, I was more conservative. I was more right leaning. I believed more into like things like the American dream, into capitalism. I didn't think racism was really that bad, because I had a misunderstanding about how systemic inequality really worked. But as I've grown older and I start hitting my 30s, I keep going further to the left, because one thing that I realized as I get older, dummy, as we get more information, is how much right wing beliefs and right wing policies hurt and harm, everybody. Not just like young black men, also, young black women and, white people and everybody. So there's no reason to even consider conservative viewpoints at 30 years old. The very notion of that is ridiculous.
So, because liberal ideas, they sound like you care about people, sound like it's love based, but it's just they're
So people should live with no empathy or understanding or compassion about or with nobody else. People should be closed minded and ignorant and think that the world only revolves around them. See, I'm gonna tell you right now, as we live in this society, especially under America right now, under the Trump regime, we live in a society that is in constant class warfare. It's either you're a rich person or you're a worker. So whether you like it or not, you have a collective interest in one group progressing over another. So if you're not making $300,000 or more a year, I think not even that. If you're not making 50 or 60K a year, I think where you belong.
things that don't work. Like, you guys know who Thomas Sowell is?
An idiot.
Fair enough. Thomas Sowell was a black.
I know this moron. Thomas Sowell is like literally one of the dumbest people to ever speak on politics, and I literally almost can't think of anybody stupider. This guy literally lived as a second class citizen in the 60s and even before that, but tried to say that then there was a literal excuse me, YouTube, race riot on his college campus, and he tried to dispute that if racism, systemic or otherwise, is real. I went over previously in my history over one of his analysis about like food deserts and everything else, but everything Thomas Sowell has to say is some ridiculous, easily debunked garbage that if you think about for 30 seconds, that you will easily just walk past and be like, oh, that was stupid.
Black economist, and he started as a Marxist. So he thought Marxism worked. And the more he studied, he ended up going to Harvard and all this good stuff. The more Thomas Sowell studied, he realized that, well, Marxism doesn't work, socialism doesn't work. And if you look
Oh,
at
he's really stupid. This Marquette guy's a dummy. First of all, we don't know that, because honest to goodness, there has never been, rather, a honest to goodness socialist or Marxist economy. All these countries that claim to be Marxism were often the time red fascist dictatorship. The Soviet Union wasn't leftist. The Chinese government is not leftist. Vietnam is not leftist. North Korea, Venezuela. Although these people say that they have left-wing governments, the people have no say in or control over the means of production. The only country that even comes close to being a communist or left-wing country is Cuba. And Lord knows that that place has its problems. Point. And then, not to mention the fact, if we want to talk about Cuba, they have more doctors than anywhere in the world. They lack food insecurity. They have 100% literacy rate. So, but despite the U.S. sanctioning Cuba, they've heard in its own authoritarian problems. Cuba was able to achieve a lot to the point where they literally export doctors to other countries to go work. So this notion of socialism not working is only born out of ignorant people who want the working class to remain in bondage.
At socialist governments, most of these people are in poverty. Like in Cuba, for example, we were in tremendous poverty, and
The majority of people in Cuba are not in poverty. The majority of people in the Soviet Union were in poverty because the Soviet Union had no left-wing policies or practices. I think the only left-wing policy or practice I could think of the Soviet Union had was commodified housing. But other than that, we'll see how far he goes. But let's just see how far he goes. Like, I'm curious.
Soviet Union, before it dissolved, people were in tremendous poverty. So he realized this shit don't work.
I mean, that's also throughout the entire. And it's like, I hate to be a Soviet Union defender, but you also got to keep in mind. The Soviet Union was under constant security and economic pressure by the West. The Soviet Union, along with other, left-wing countries, even during the Soviet Union's reform period in the 1980s, remained in a constant Cold War, even during times where the Soviet Union tried to become more democratic under the U.S. and the Western European countries, some countries in Asia, barring them out of markets, not trading with them, spying on them, infiltrating their societies, trying to, I don't think they did this in the Soviet Union, but at least in other socialist countries, especially smaller ones in Latin America, and even technically over there in Southeast Asia, they will literally unalive or deport a socialist leader and install a fascist, and then they will blame what the fascists did for what the socialists brought on. Like, oh, this brought so much poverty and destruction onto our country, when these people literally are under constant pressure from the Western Hemisphere and the Southeast Asian countries that are allied to the United States, while being locked out of markets. And that will help their economy because of the type of economy that they had. So people like this, bro, and because I'm not saying that like a lot of these countries were good necessarily, but the ones that were, like, Chile or Cuba, even to some extent later in the Soviet Union's life, towards the end of the 1980s, when they introduced things like perestroika and stuff like that, the constant economic pressure, spying, and militarism on leftist countries is completely dismissed, and people just get up and say that it does not work. And I find that to be extremely ignorant and tone deaf to understand the complex history that socialism and communism, anarchism, whatever, has had on this planet.
Work. I say that to say this. Number one,
I'm not going to
an emotional person, you cannot convince with logic. If someone's thinking about something based on emotions, if you use logic, you're not communicating in their language. Number two, the worst thing you can do is try to tell someone something. It's better to show them. Number three, if you wanted to have good ideas, you should probably put her among people who have these kinds of mindsets, because women are social animals, which means that they tend to adopt what's around them. Here's an example of that. Are you wearing any makeup?
No.
Yes or no? Are you wearing any makeup?
No.
Who cares? Like this, we went from talking about people being leftist to a group of women not wearing makeup. Nobody cares, man. It's not impressive, and it seeds no point. People often at the time, bro, and like, I'm gonna let him in on a little secret. People choose political alliances not based on the people that they are around necessarily, but it's based on their own personal feelings and in the information that they can get access to about the given living situations that they have. And that's why people turn one way or the other on the political spectrum. It's not necessarily about being around other people. I became a leftist because James wanted to be a leftist. It was, there was no dating relationship. There was no man or woman or anybody else that was trying to convince me of left-wing viewpoints. I slowly drifted in it myself. Not to say that I didn't have influences such as the music I listened to, or just sitting down reading and thinking about my life experiences and comparing it to, what leftist scholars, such as those like I mentioned in the last video, like the Black Panther Party and were talking about, and I just went on from there. Like, maybe there are problems in society that we can work on with very basic, easy solutions, but we don't do it because of cranks like you.
You're wearing no makeup.
No.
Jabrizi, is she wearing any makeup?
No, I'm not
actually,
wearing makeup.
No. Stop
Okay,
it.
she's
How
on
is
your
this
eyelashes?
relevant to
Oh.
anything
That's
Uh-oh.
about politics?
Eyelashes? Oh, I always thought. I
This
just
is
consider makeup as like.
this right here, part of the podcast when they do stuff like this, dude. And I'm gonna continue because this is only 14 minutes. I'll see how long I can take, because that was already a bunch of other dumb shit by Mr. Thomas Sowell, the dumbest man alive possibly. Now we're sitting here berating women, talking about if they're wearing makeup or not. Like, that's like literally one of the dumbest things I ever seen in my life. Like, what relevance does this have to talking about convincing people one political ideology or another?
Fake things that
Aren't yours.
Yeah, aren't yours.
Oh, well, I
makes
guess this makes up my face more.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just say this: have you enhanced your eyelashes?
Yes.
What did this have to do with the question that the guy asked, bro? This better not. Like, this is what they love to do, bro, because you have a bunch of, and I hate to go there because I try not to be this person, sexist, pig, ignorant, bratty men who just watch podcasts of men paying women to be on the podcast and berating them. And it's pathetic, bro, because if you really got to get your rise in life is turning on a podcast and watching some guy berate and question women, you need to rearrange your priorities, because this is pathetic. Like, you are not the alpha male, indeed. You're not working on yourself or worrying about yourself. You seem like an ignorant person to actually watch this and enjoy it and not have your ears bleed when this guy talks about irrelevant BS, like if one woman is wearing makeup or not. What the hell is this, man?
Have you enhanced your eyelashes?
Yes.
Have you enhanced your eyelashes?
Yes.
Okay. Have you enhanced your eyelashes?
Hell no.
Have I enhanced my
This have to do with anything?
eyelashes?
Hell no.
Okay, so saying this is what I'm trying to illustrate is this. Women are social creatures, which means that they all take the same enhancements. They're different ethnicities, whatever the case. Have you enhanced your eyelashes? Yes.
Not all women wear makeup and eyelashes. I'm married to a woman that does not do any makeup. She's just very beautiful, and it's really as simple as that, So this nonsense about women, it's common, but at the same time, not all women do it. Not to mention the fact there are men like JD Vance who wear makeup and beauty enhancements when they're out in public. There's men that wear lipstick. There's men that wear eyeliner. There's men that get their eyelashes and eyebrows plucked and trimmed. There's men that get waxes. So this nonsense that about only women copy the behavior of like wearing makeup, if that's what he's trying to say, that's really stupid.
Puerto Rican, Mexican, African American, 3 different ethnicities. All the females have enhanced their eyelashes. Women are social animals. They are going to follow trends and follow what is around them in their environment far more strictly than males will. We're willing to be
See, and if you're finding women that act or follow a certain trend or act or follow a certain wavelength, that's because you are ignorant and you need to choose different women to hang out with. Not all women follow and do the same stuff. There's often at a time, bro, and I dare bring this up. If you go out into the world and you go to different events, especially you know, like I want to say like rock shows, you go to like anime cons and stuff like that, you will find and see women that express themselves differently from the mainstream. It's just up to you to look for these women in the right places and find them. So, not women don't have a monoculture, and neither do men have a monoculture. Like you are a I can't say that on camera. A whiny punk. Ironically enough, I'm calling you that. Who sits around berating women all day with some ugly glasses on, while I'm sitting at home married, chilling with a decent job and enjoying my life. So, you know, not all of us partake in the same culture, dude. And I hate to go there because I hate that shit. Like, not all women do the same thing, bro. Like, stop stereotyping.
Disagreeable. That being the case, put your little sister in the company of people who have good ideas.
But at the same time, they would say what's wrong with women nowadays is liberalism, socialism, you know, feminism, and that women are so disagreeable now to men. While at the same time ignoring the collective nature of men having a more conservative nature than women. But okay, man, whatever.
It's possible.
I'm gonna watch this whole video.
Europe.
This is really stupid.
I don't believe a lot of the European women wearing makeup.
I think it depends on where you're at. I feel like in Athens.
I hate when like these Uncle Tom mofos do this, dude. Like, are you really gonna sit up here and tell me that out of all the internet that you be on and out of all the time you be in public at clubs and stuff like that, you's telling me that white women never wear makeup of any kind? That's a very ridiculous and stupid statement, only held by people that are anti-black as hell. Because I knew we was gonna get to that. Like, get out of here, man. That's stupid.
Not the case, but in Mykonos, yeah.
It's crazy how like just them being somewhere makes them do something.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir.
No.
Exactly.
Modern right. Women are easily manipulated. You are not lying. And fall.
Okay, I'm done. I just wanted to do the liberal one. I'm not gonna watch this whole video if it's not about that one subject, but you can't stop. Don't get me wrong, you know, because that's the point of this channel, is to change and challenge people's opinion. But you should never try to groom somebody into believing one political ideology over the other. People have a choice about the things that they want to believe, and it should be up to them for the things that they want to believe and participate in.